Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cancer Watch, a program that gives voice to the battles, the courage, and the victories in Nigeria's cancer journey. My name is Dr. Denise Ejo, the CEO of Common Cancer Foundation, and with me is my co-host and colleague and friend and brother, Dr. B. Olutunde Olusegun, who represents ACON on this program.
Indeed, it's good to be here again today. Today, we will be shining a light on a subject that is often left in the shadows, what it means to face cancer more than once. Sounds terrifying, doesn't it? But one can still choose hope. So our segment today is Fighting Cancer Again and Again, what I have learned about survival. And it features a woman whose courage is matched only by her commitment to helping others.
So here I have a two-time cancer survivor, a strong patient advocate, and a beacon of hope for many. Please join me in welcoming, or join us rather, in welcoming Mrs. Hadiza Haliru Binji to Cancer Watch. Hadiza, we are honored to have you with us. How are you?
Okay. I'm very happy to have you too. I'm very honored to be invited for this program. I highly appreciate.
Thank you for joining us. Together we fight, together we win. So what's our topic? We go back to our main topic and we say it, fighting again and again. Hadiza, you're going to tell us we're going to ask you some nice questions now. So viewers, sit back, relax, and let us listen to the conversation. Hadiza, let's begin at the very beginning. Can you take us back to the first time you were diagnosed with cancer? What was that experience like? And what did it change? And how did it change your world?
Okay. My name is Hadiza Haliru Binji. I'm a cervical cancer survivor. At the beginning, I started having an offensive discharge, which I thought it was an infection. I was treating infection for almost 4 months. Then later, I started seeing a spot of blood between my menstrual pain, and I went for diagnosis for cancer screening. When I went, the day I was diagnosed with cancer, I felt like the ground was pulled from under me. And hearing the word cancer felt like a death sentence. I couldn't breathe. At first, there was denial, then fear, and finally silence. My first thoughts were fear and confusion. What does this mean for my future? Am I going to die? I felt like my life has split into two. The uncertainty was the hardest part in that moment. Everything in my life paused. My work, my plans, even my sleep. But after the shock settled, I realized I had two options: to either fight or to give up. I now chose to fight. This is my story.
We're glad that you chose to fight.
Yes, I chose to fight.
Indeed. I mean, it's so amazing. There's something about a cancer survivor that just helps you to understand that these are uncommon champions. I mean, you're just a brief story and already my heart is just thumping in my chest. The way you described your first experience with the diagnosis of cancer, as scary as it was. Thank you for pointing out your first symptoms of an offensive vaginal discharge to indicate the beginning of something sinister, and having treated it several times before eventually noticing the blood and going to now get a diagnosis. Someone out there is probably learning that they probably need to be a bit more proactive. But I have a question for you, Hadiza. A second diagnosis of cancer came. After after that terrifying first diagnosis, what was your reaction when you were told that that the cancer had returned, or was it a different form of cancer entirely? Did it feel any different from the first time, Adiza?
Yes, I felt different from the first time because the second time I was experiencing serious back pain for almost 5 months. I was treating back pain. I now went for normal checkups. That was after 3 months after the treatment of cancer. I did the first 3 months checkup. They told me that my cervical cancer had gone. Then I gave me another 3 months. And I went again. They told me that I don't have cervical cancer anymore. But why the back pain? So I was now advised by the doctor that I should go for PET scan in Lagos, which I did. The second diagnosis hit me even harder than the first one. You think you are surviving once you give yourself an honor, that's a covering. But no, it comes as a betrayal. Why I say cancer came as a betrayal? Because after all your treatment, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, brachytherapy, I went for 3 types of treatments. So I'm not seeing the cancer for the second time as a betrayal. Because I've started to have hope in life again, just for it just to come back. I had just begun to breathe again and again when it now came back. This time, it was a recurrent, not a new cancer. But emotionally, I felt brand new. I cried, not because I am afraid, but because I was tired. Still, something in me refused to surrender. I told myself, if I did it once, I can do it again. So I now try as I will keep on fighting it.
Lisa, when I was listening to you just now, it brought home how much I actually sit down sometimes and I cry. And a lot of people will sit down and think that, yeah, we're superhuman. I mean, Dr. B is one of our champions. Yes, Dr. B, we really appreciate you, but it's hard because you tend to think you have hope as a patient, and then they come back and say another thing, and you are tired. I am currently very tired, but you see, I love the fact that we have a cancer space of cancer champions because they give us the strength to fight this fight. I'm being honest. If we didn't have that community, even I would be broken because the people that can give you the strongest strength are the people that understand what she's talking about. And for those out there who don't know, it is not a weakness. Just find strength in whoever you can. So I'm going to ask you another question because it's continue from this, and then we'll take a break. Facing cancer even once is life-altering. We all agree with that. But how did you manage the fear, anxiety, and uncertainty, especially knowing the cancer had come back and what kept you going? What was the underlying thing? Me, I would say mine was faith. It was just God. I and it still is God because I can't do it. I'm tired. But what was yours, or what is yours?
Every day was a battle, not just with the illness, but with the mind. Some nights I cry myself to sleep. Other days I smile, even when I'm in pain. What helped me most was opening up to loved ones, to therapists, even to strangers online. I also began journalizing, praying, and meditating. I talked to my cancer team, my GP, my practice nurse. They give me an advice on ways to manage anxiety. They also refer me to extra support I may it. Talking to friends and relatives along to support me during my treatment. I manage my uncertainty by busing my brain with other things and also accept that you won't have all the answers, and I focus on what I can control. What kept me going was the belief that I still had something to offer the world, and that my pain would become someone else's hope.
Interesting.
Yeah, indeed, very, very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Hadiza. We'll go on a break right now. See you on the other side. Please don't go away.
Thank you and welcome back to our program. I hope that you are finding the conversation educative, but above all, something that you can help to share and educate others as to what cancer is all about and the challenges cancer patients face, and how to make sure you can also be of help to the community in which we all live in. So, welcome back, and over to Dr. B.
Right, thank you, Dennis. Welcome back, everybody. Hadiza, you have just been so inspirational with how you have answered our questions. I'm so glad we had you today. I know you're going to be like a beacon of hope to so many, having faced cancer not once, twice. And here you are standing tall and looking good. In our country, particularly, in Africa and indeed in Nigeria, our faith and our culture happen to shape so much of how we deal with illness. I know in your previous questions, you talked about reaching out to people, getting your doctor, talking to your doctors, even strangers, which is a beautiful thing that many people don't want to tap into. They hide and they don't want to talk about some of these things and end up suffering in silence, which I think makes the quality of life even poorer. But because our faith is a very big part of who we are, what role did your spiritual beliefs or cultural background play in your healing journey? How did this matter to you?
Okay, as a Muslim, I believe that every sickness comes from God, and it's only God alone that can heal you. I don't believe in a spiritual aspect that somebody did me this or that. So I focus on prayers. I deeply lean into prayers, into God's promises and comfort of the scripture. My family, my friends, well-wishers always pray for me and embrace both spiritual and cultural identity as a sort of strength, not shame. I know what I did.
That's interesting. You know why I'd say that? Because,
Fantastic.
yeah, Dr. B, if you look at all the people that we tend to interview, especially those who are cancer survivors, faith plays a very important part in it. However, we don't really get anybody really wanting to recognize the fact that some people don't actually do the faith part. They do the alternatives, and then we end up with late diagnosis, and then we end up in a mess, and then we don't know how to solve our problems. But anyway, let's keep going. So am I the one asking the next question? So my next question is: so you're not just a survivor. You yourself know, because I'm privileged that I met you.
Me too.
In Abuja, it was very nice. And the fact that we do have, for some strange reason, I would call it family ties because of your sister and I. But you are a teacher through your story, and you know that.
Yes.
And we all know that the story of a cancer patient has stigmatization attached to it. What has living through cancer more than once just taught you about life, love, and purpose?
Cancer taught me how precious time is. I no longer take moments for granted. The laughter of a friend, the warmth, the sun, the beauty of the morning. It taught me how to love. But sharing your life with the loved ones and receiving some aids or support from the family and friends will improve your ability to cope and help you fight your life. A person who is lonely or alone often feels like a helpless victim. People want to help you. People want to help you, but you need to tell them how to help you. Above all, it gives me a purpose. I now see that my pen has a mission to speak for those who cannot and to remind others that survival is possible. So many cancers are treatable if detected earlier. This survival is possible.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Adila, thank you. You say it's such a lovely thing to hear you say just going through cancer made you not to take anything in life for granted. I mean, it was suddenly thrust upon you, this diagnosis. And I just was thinking how we don't have to wait until disaster strikes before we begin to cherish important things in our lives, our friends, our family, our loved ones, even the warmth of the sun, the wetness of the rain. These are things that we need to take a lot of delight in. Thank you, Hadiza, for that very enlightening response. I have a question for you. I wanted to find out, were you treated in the country, and if you were not, or even if you were, based on your experience, how do you see the cancer care system in Nigeria? What changes would you like to see for patients, for survivors, and for our health institutions, particularly those who are in charge of patients who have cancer? Hadiza.
I was treated in Nigeria National Hospital. Then I now moved to Nizamia because the treatment in National Hospital was so bad that one cannot cope with it. If you have money, it's better for you to go to a private hospital that treats cancer. We have a long way to go. Many people do not die because of cancer is untreatable, but because it was not caught, but because it was caught late, or the care was too expensive. We need a better awareness campaign, affordable screening, and more compassionate care. I like to see survivor support groups in every state, mental health integrated cancer treatment, and more funding to our hospital. Cancer shouldn't be a death sentence just because of where you live. So the treatment in government institute is very bad. The government negligence of the nurses, 30 patients, 2 nurses will be attending to them to the extent that your drip will finish, blood will be entering the drip, they will not attend to you, they will have rooms, and each room contain more than 10 patients. They keep on running there and there. Sometimes they will not have the clinic attendants to change your drip for you or remove your cannula for you. So the treatment in National Hospital is very bad. Government need to do something about the toilet facilities. It's too bad. When they clean in the morning, they don't come and clean it in the afternoon. And due to chemo, many people are purging. Oh, the toilets in the mess. National Hospital. Honestly, government needs to internet.
Dr. B, you have an assignment here.
Absolutely. I'm actually horrified how bad her experience was, and I feel so bad. I'm so sorry. I think that everybody has a right to be treated with dignity, and I know that there are limitations to what we have, which, of course, every day we're advocating. You yourself then is at the forefront of advocacy, trying to make things better. But what she's describing is rather appalling, and I would like to think that things we should have improved now with all of the advocacy that have been coming in, but it's still quite heart-rendering to actually hear her say some of these things. But I think the National Hospital of today should be much, much better. I've been there myself. However, I would not say that I wasn't there as a patient. I was just visiting. I may have been impressed, but maybe behind the scenes, we'll bring up some of these issues with the people on the corridors of power and hope that things would have improved. We can really talk about a lot of bad, but there's also some good. Yeah.
There are some good. That's why I said it's good. It's good for you to respond because you are in the space and it's something you can feed back to your colleagues. Okay, so we're closing now. We're rounding up. Yeah. So Hadiza, I want to give you a word. I want you to give a word to somebody who is diagnosed, they're newly diagnosed. There are some people watching right now who are just beginning their own fight, or who have had a recurrence like you and felt totally lost. What would you say to them from where you stand today?
I will say they are not alone. I know how heavy this feels, but I also know that you are stronger than you think. Lean on your support system. Cry when you need to. Rest when you must, but don't give up. Healing is not just in medicine. It's in love, in hope, in community. You are more than your diagnosis.
Yeah.
You should be a fighter. You should also allow yourself to feel all emotions, fear, anger, sadness, but don't stay stuck in them. Reach out for the support. Ask questions and take things one after at a time. Healing is possible and there is hope. Your story does not end with this diagnosis. It's just a new chapter and you are stronger than you think.
Thank you, Hadiza. It sounds like a poem you just read to us. That was very nice. We really, really appreciate you, Hadiza. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for letting us speak about your scars with you, a story of hope. Your story is a reminder that survival is not the end of a story. It's just the beginning of an impact. And we agree with you on that. I think Dr. B and I will tell you that, yeah, that is one of the reasons why we enjoy doing what we're doing. I mean, yes, I'm sitting on your side. He's on the other side. But you know what? Together we fight, together we win. Dr. B, what do you have to say?
Absolutely. And thank you so much. It was exciting talking with you. And I agree with Dennis. It actually sounded like poetry, the last bit of what you were sharing with us. I think it's so important that you put that out there for people. It can be hard to have a diagnosis of cancer on a day-to-day basis. I'm dealing with people newly diagnosed who are just terrified. So there's power in your voice, and I want to know, how are you doing, by the way, Hadiza? You've had 2 cancers and 2 cancer treatments. How are you doing? Are you doing good?
I had 3 cancer treatments. I'm doing good. I did 18 sections. 18. Yes, 3 treatment of cancer. The first treatment was 5 chemotherapy. And the second session was 6 chemotherapies. Then the third one was 6. That is making 17. Making 17. Okay, I had 17 sessions.
17. Yes.
Yeah. Then radiotherapy, 25 sections. Then brachytherapy, 3 sections. Then 2 PET scan going for the third one.
Oh wow, Hadiza, you've shown us that survivor.
Oh, you and Dennis will have to exchange war stories. You and Dennis have war stories to exchange. I can't kid you not.
Everyone watching out there. Cancer will come back, but so can courage. Every story of survival lights the way for someone else. Together we are stronger. Together we fight. Together we win. Thank you, Hadiza, for your honesty, your vulnerability, and for letting your scars speak hope. And your story is a reminder that survival is not the end of a story. It's not the end of a journey. And we really appreciate you, your honesty, especially at this time. It's just the beginning of impact. We really appreciate you.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Hadiza. You've just shown us with very clear terms, exciting words, that survivorship is not passive. It's actually a very active thing, it's bold, and survivorship is full of meaning. Thank you so much. Thank you, because you fought cancer twice, and now you're fighting for others.
Awesome. So to everyone watching out there, watching Cancer Watch, stay tuned. We'll be back again. But so can courage. Cancer, to everyone watching, cancer can come back. Please be aware of it. Trust me, I have it. But courage, the ability to fight, having the right people with you, trusting God, having positive environmental relationships. It's one thing I will tell any cancer patient. It's the only thing that has kept me 9 years. But first and foremost is God. Every story of survival lights the way for someone else. Together we are strong. Together we fight. Together we win.
Together we win. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dennis. You're such a...
See you soon.
Bye. See you soon.
Bye.